Hi, and welcome back to the Save It for Parts channel. In my previous video, I left off in the middle of reconstructing the outboard on my 1970s tri-hull speedboat. Now, that's not this outboard. This is actually another project that I'm in the middle of because I have far too many free outboards that need repair. I'm terrible, I know. As usual with a free boat, the motor is all screwed up and the boat is all screwed up. Since the motor tends to be the valuable part of such packages, I'm starting on that first. In my last episode, I was tearing it open, redoing a lot of the wiring, and giving it a general once-over, cleanup, and test. Now, I got stalled when I ran out of wiring that I could reach to repair, and I had one rotten wire that leads underneath the top flywheel. Now, I think that goes into the electrical system that provides spark to the spark plugs, and so that's a pretty important wire. Unfortunately, at the time, I did not have enough tools to get in there, but I've now gone down to my cheap imported tool shop for these one-use tools that will probably break immediately, and hopefully one of these sockets is going to be big enough to get that flywheel off. It's very windy outside today. It sounds terrible on camera. So, to avoid a lot of wind noise, I might just go ahead and cut to some sort of royalty-free music track, and you can listen to that while you watch me try to take that flywheel off and trace down the wires underneath it. Go! Okay, it took all day, but I finally got the flywheel off. So I've started on what I wanted to do today. I ended up having to make this little flywheel puller, kind of based on pictures in the manual and measuring where those bolt holes were in the top of the engine. And I had to get my janky drill press going, which ended up working pretty well with just some hose clamps. It might be another video in the future of doing a better job with this someday, but not right now. Right now it kind of works well enough for what I needed it for. So, next up is digging into what's under that flywheel and fixing that electrical short. But that's going to be tomorrow, so cut to a new outfit. So that should be the last of the bad wiring in the engine head. hopefully. And I should have it all put back together correctly, hopefully. So, I think it's time to hook the battery up again and give it a little bit of gas and see if it'll start. Well, that's the most promising run we've seen so far. So if it's going to keep running, I'm going to need to put the outboard in a tank of water so that it's got some cooling water going over it. And that probably means I have to take those fins off the bottom so that I can fit a 55-gallon barrel in there. I have to say, this is not inspiring any amount of confidence in getting this engine out on the water. If it's this hard to start here, it's going to be twice as hard to start when I actually want it to go. So I'm going to need like 2 backup engines on here. Alright, so it no longer has spark at the spark plugs. It did have spark for a while, now it doesn't. Which probably means something's gone wrong in the brain case here with all the points and magnetos and bits that I barely understand. This whole assembly is the most mysterious part of an outboard for me, and I've been in there rooting around, probably breaking stuff, probably twice now. So I'm going to take this off again and root around in there for a 3rd time, because at least now I have a proper point gapping feeler gauge thingy. How many times can I bend these little doohickeys before they break off? We might find out. At least I have a real point gapping tool now. Last time I did this with a beer can, and I called it close enough because the internet said it's close enough, and a bunch of rednecks on the internet are usually about 50% correct, but it says to set it to 0.01, 0.01 whatever's something. I don't know what the units are on this. I don't know if that's inches, millimeters, freedom units, but 0.01 something. Okay, I took the points out and I shined them up nicely on some fine grit sandpaper. I thought I did that before, but they were still a little crusty, so might as well polish that up, get all the grime off of it. And I'll do the same with the other end of the point. Now, the so-called manual is incredibly vague about how this point setting operation goes. It's kind of like, bro, this is 1968, everybody knows how to set points. This is basic first grader stuff like walking to school uphill in the snow and joining the army, and you should know how to do this. So the entirety of the point setting part is one sketchy diagram and a sentence that says, make the setting for the points 0.01. That makes perfect sense. Everybody knows what that means. Fortunately, it's not 1968 anymore, and we have the internet. So I was able to look up how to do this correctly this time. Alright, I've got this one set at 0.010 freedoms, and we'll try the next one. They made this one a little harder to get to. I didn't know they had invented the hexagon in the 60s. I thought they had just invented Phillips. And I've just electrocuted myself. Alright, at least we know there is electricity in there, even if it's coming out at the wrong time. Okay, I have just fumbled one of my point screws down onto the ground. So it's somewhere down here among the sticks and rocks. and garbage. So that's going to be week 3 of this video, is finding that screw on the ground. Ha! There you are. Okay, I'm going to call that done, and I'm going to put all this garbage back together, and it's getting dark now, so maybe we'll try running it tomorrow. The manual says this little white mark is supposed to line up with this thing over here, but there's no way to do that and still have the screw holes line up, so I don't know what they're talking about. Alright, so that engine is finally running. However, it's not spitting cooling water out, so that probably means the impeller in the pump is bad. So I've got to order that and wait for that to show up before I can do much else with the outboard. So I'm going to stop this video here and call this the end of part 2. And you can check out part 1 if you haven't seen that. And you can always stay tuned and subscribe if you want to see part 3 whenever I get around to that video. I might focus a little more on the hull integrity of the boat rather than the outboard in part 3, but we'll see what happens. And yeah, I know I did some things wrong in this video. I know I'm not an expert at this outboard, and there's a lot of stuff that is a little bigger than I'm used to as far as outboard motors go, and is new to me. And it's a free outboard, it's a free boat, so if I destroy it, I won't cry too much. I'd prefer not to destroy it, but if I do, oh well. Other than that, it's been kind of a learning experience. So eventually, even if I break a few things here and there, I learn a little more what I'm doing, and it seems that I've learned enough to get that outboard to run. So I guess that just goes to show that you don't really need to know what you're doing to start a big project like this. You just have to be willing to experiment and play around and potentially break some things. And of course it helps if you can find a free motor and boat and something that you don't care too much about. As far as costs, I probably have about $50 into this so far with the new car battery and some wires and some tools and some other stuff that I had to buy. But most of those things I can use on other projects if this one goes completely bust. I'm learning a lot on this project just by getting in there and digging around in the guts of this engine. There are some how-to guides online. There is that kind of okay manual that I found from the 60s, but there's a lot of stuff in the manual and a lot of stuff on the internet that don't make sense until you're in there with greasy hands digging around in it. I'd also like to give a shout out to viewer Alexander, who keeps pointing me towards relevant Facebook groups. I think I'm part of the Redneck Engineering and Tinkering group thanks to him, as well as the Antique Outboard Motor group on Facebook. So go ahead and check those out. I'm sure I will be spamming one or the other of those groups soon with a bunch of nonsense questions about this outboard. So they've been a good resource, and I hope will continue to be a good resource in the future. As usual, if you'd like to help support my stupid boat projects, you can become a patron by going to patreon.com/saveitforparts, and I will throw a link to that in here as well. So, again, thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and all that usual jazz, and we'll see you next time.